Okay, today there's a lot of good news for Ukraine, and I mean a lot of good news. Let's start with this. 1,060 Russians off the battlefield, 9 tanks, 20 armored combat vehicles, 30 artillery pieces, 52 vehicles, and fuel tanks. If we go to Andrew Perpetua's list, it's about 1.5 to 1 Russian losses to Ukrainian losses. That's not significant. I like to see that higher. Let's look at this. This is like the worst piece of the puzzle. I've been talking about how Russia has been making these breakthroughs in the east, just little tactical gains, not significant. They keep pushing toward particular places, and they don't care how many people they spend in the process. So this is what happens. Russian troops have made significant gains in eastern Ukraine, exploiting Kyiv's manpower shortages. Moscow's made significant gains in Ukraine's Donetsk region in recent months, and it has developed new tactics to break through defense lines. Kyiv is suffering from a manpower problem. Yes, we know that. I'll talk about that near the end. An issue that Moscow is exploiting. Russians probe the lines to see if a battalion holds or retreats. When they located weakened battalions and brigades, they press them no matter the losses. So even here, they're making these small gains, these marginal gains, taking little tiny villages as they push kind of toward the west from the east, and but they spend a lot of lives in the processes. So even that is not terrible news, a little real estate for lots of lives, but that's about the worst of the news. Okay, so here's what could have been the worst of the news, and it wasn't. For the last 3 days, I said a big barrage is coming. Go back and look at my videos yesterday and the day before, and a few days before that, I said, I think a big barrage is coming. Now, they didn't spend the missiles, so I'm wondering what happened, or if another barrage might be coming with the missiles, because they have some subs in the Black Sea that have missiles on them that they could have been firing with this salvo. But they shot 89 Shahed drones last night, and Ukraine shot all of them down. 89, 100% Russian drones destroyed. So that's good news, especially when, because so Russia's pattern is to have this big salvo and then little bit harassing. So I knew something was coming when I saw how little was coming over the last few weeks, and here it is. Overnight, Russia launched one of the most massive drone attacks since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. Ukrainian defenders shot down 89 out of 89 Shahed drones. Thank you, air defenders, for your heroic work. Thank you, partners, for strengthening Ukraine's defense. And this is a map of what it looked like. So it's really fascinating to watch. Here's the map of what, they don't take straight routes to where they're going. They might go in this, like here's this one group going up and around and over, and right. So it's hard to do this, to shoot these down, and they actually did it. So congratulations. Ukraine downs all 89 drones in the massive attack. And here's just a little bit from the Kyiv Independent. Kyiv City Military Administration said the attack was the strongest drone attack on the capital so far in 2024, with air defense forces destroying over 40 drones in the city's airspace and nearby areas. No casualties reported. 13 buildings damaged by falling debris in the region. Well, when you have 40 drones and you're knocking them out of the sky, something will happen, right? Russia launched 90 Shahed-type drones in a massive attack last New Year's Eve, 87 of which Ukraine air defense successfully intercepted. So this was a big, significant event that became a nothing burger for Russia. 89 Shahed drones were shot down last night, says Zelensky, all of those used by Russian terrorists during the attack. And it's an important result. Ukrainians can fully protect their skies from Russian strikes when they have sufficient supplies. The same level of defense is needed against Russian missiles and the occupiers' combat aircraft, and this can be achieved. We need sufficiently courageous decisions from our partners, enough air defense systems, enough range, and Ukrainians will do everything correctly and precisely. Yeah, that's right. They can do it if they have the tools. Okay. Next, Jason J. Smart talks about how 4 power substations in Russian-occupied Crimea exploded and are on fire. There's no water supply in the city and the eastern part of the Crimean Peninsula, and he's asking the question, is liberation nearing? Well, I mean, once they choke it off with power and water, it's going to be very difficult to maintain, and they understand that. Russian-occupied Kursk and Crimea, its suburbs are without power after massive fire. Coincidentally, fire broke out at 4 power substations at the same time. When the lights go out, the liberation nears. Again, that's Jason J. Smart. Ukrainian MiG-29 pilots, different story, from the 40th Tactical Aviation Brigade delivered precise AASM Hammer airstrike on enemy personnel in Zaporizhzhia region. Okay, another story. Ukraine claims successful strike on Russian strategic bombers. Ukrainian intelligence claims two Russian Tu-22M3 strategic bombers were damaged in an explosion at the Olenya Airfield in Russia's Murmansk region on 25 July. But we're just hearing the reports of that. So here's the actual article about it. And it said this: I can report that two Tu-22M3 aircraft were damaged. The specific tail numbers are aircraft number 33 and 31. Aircraft number 33 has punctures in the upper part of the fuselage. Aircraft number 31 also has certain damages. So yeah, that news is just coming out. Ukrainian armed forces struck a Russian warehouse with weapons and military equipment near Kursk, Russia. Here, 2 fires can be observed near the Kursk airport. These places are said to be used by Russian forces to store ammunition. And oh yeah, there was a big fire there and it lasted a long time. Judging by the official statement of the General Staff on the Ukrainian Armed Forces, the strike on Russian aviation ammunition storages was carried out by Navy, which means Neptune missiles were likely used. Tonight, an attack was made on a warehouse for storing weapons and military equipment near the settlement of Kursk, Russian Federation. The work of enemy air defense and explosions at aiming points were observed. And here's the article itself. Ukrainian Navy claims attack on Russian weapons depot near Kursk. Ukraine's Navy carried out an attack on weapons storage facility near the city of Kursk overnight. Kursk is located 100 kilometers or 62 miles northeast of the Ukrainian border. Neptune is Ukraine's ground-launched, domestically produced anti-ship rocket with a maximum range of 300 kilometers or 190 miles. Ukraine's forces reportedly used Neptune missiles to sink the Black Sea flagship Moskva in 2022. The acting governor of Kursk Oblast reported on Telegram at around 2 a.m. local time that a fire had broken out at an unnamed facility in the region, and then claimed that the fire had been contained by 4 a.m. So it was going off for a couple hours. Okay. Now, another story. Russian sources associated with Russian military aviation report that a Russian M8 helicopter crashed or was downed near Donetsk. No information regarding the crew yet, but there's a little bit more to the story. Presumably, we do have the first helicopter downed by a drone, according to Russian sources. Yesterday, we were told about the enemy's attempt to use drones against our army aviation. Unfortunately, they have succeeded in this today. That's the Russian report. So Andrew Perpetua put out, FPV drone is greater than helicopter. And that might be the wave of the future. I mean, what's happened with drone warfare has been simply incredible. Okay. Main Directorate of Intelligence of Ukraine's Special Forces hit a Russian base in Syria. This happened after Putin's meeting with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad on July 24th. Kyiv Post has published exclusive footage of a special operation by the Ukrainian intelligence service. And remember, just not too long ago, like 4 days ago, Ukraine provided intelligence to the Turags, who then decimated Wagner fighters in Mali. And so here's Turags photographed with Ukrainian flag after defeating Wagnerites in Mali. So how about that? Okay. Ukraine delivers one of the largest cyber attacks in history, a source says. On the evening of Tuesday, July 30th, hackers from Ukraine's main intelligence directorate, HUR, completed one of the largest distributed denial of service attacks, that's a DDoS attack, in history, derailing Russia's internet infrastructure, hitting critical resources, and gaining access to a vast array of confidential data. According to Ukraine's source, the attacks lasted continuously for a week. It affected the online services of all major Russian banks, including the central bank, telecommunication service providers, national payment systems, and social networks and messengers, government resources, and a dozen other services. Yeah, I mean, they're just coming at you, Russia, from all directions. The attack affected the online services of banks and messengers and other services. The resources that were attacked supported or financed Russia's aggression against Ukraine. All right. Meantime, Russia's trying to figure out how to find more meat for the grinder, and they are prioritizing, or there was a bill in the Duma to prioritize Russian nationals who were nationalized from other countries. So here, raids continue across Russia, with police scooping up those who've recently acquired Russian passports, pouring them into Ukraine. This is Ekaterinburg. At the same time, they're trying to figure out how to get more resources or human resources for that meat grinder. So Putin doubles signing bonuses for volunteers to fight in Ukraine. Wow, this is pretty amazing. Russian President Vladimir Putin doubled upfront payments for volunteers to fight in Ukraine on Wednesday, a move aimed at facilitating military recruitment but likely to create imbalances in the overheated economy. Now, I was just looking at something that Joe Blogs did about how Putin can't afford to lose the war, but he can't afford to win it either. And I may very well do a video unpacking some of those nuances. But yeah, I mean, you can't continue at this level to do what they're doing. All Russians who sign a contract with the army will now receive an upfront payments of 400,000 rubles. That's 4,651 US dollars. The new decree raises the minimum annual wage for first-year service to 3.25 million rubles, or $37,791. So they have to pay a premium to get people to go lay down their lives. Such payments have helped. Now, again, the people that are doing it are coming disproportionately from the most impoverished areas of Russia, and that's why they're getting, but they're kind of running out of people that are willing to do this as things aren't working out so well. Such payments have helped Russia avoid a new nationwide mobilization after a troubled campaign in 2022 led to a mass exodus of people to neighboring countries. However, some economists argue that the payments are creating a wage spiral in the economy, and that's going to go very, very badly. All right, it's been all good news, such great news today. There's even a little bit about Ukraine's recruiting effort. Ukraine has recruited 30,000 people into the army monthly, 2 to 3 times more than before, and this is happening now. Ukraine is starting to backfill what it needs to backfill, and this is the critical link to my mind for Ukraine. If Ukraine can simply keep enough people in place, they can hold out. But without that, if they can't muster enough men, they're going to have a problem. The new conscription law in Ukraine has led to a significant increase in military recruitment, 4.7 million men registering for potential service. That doesn't mean 4.7 million have just been added. That means they can reach out and mobilize these 4.7 million men if necessary, or some fraction of that if necessary. I'm going to leave you with this. This was Andrew Perpetua posting this, a casual commute to work. Wow. I mean, we don't understand what it's really like there, that they don't have supplies and they need donations of supplies, and that they're taking their own personal vehicles or riding a bicycle toward the battle line. It's just amazing. All right, my friends, thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.